It's Coach Maggie, and welcome to my kitchen. I want to talk today about cutting down on food waste, and I am exposing myself. Just today, I went to my refrigerator, and all of a sudden, as I was going through, I found some grapes and these are organic grapes, so you know they were more than regular. That as I was going through, I started noticing ones that were moldy. And at first I was going to try to pick through, and then I realized that they were all sort of touching. So these are going to have to be thrown out. Then I pulled out my produce drawer, and unfortunately there was this beautiful cauliflower, except with these horrible mold spots. But again, this had been in plastic. And you know me, I don't like plastic, but that's how it came from the store. And in my busyness, I didn't take it out. And then to make matters worse, the same thing with this broccoli. Again, it was wrapped in plastic. And what I should have done is removed it right away. And so I was so frustrated at myself, and I thought, I don't think I'm the only person that does this. And so I decided to put together a video, and I thought of 10 things that we need to be doing, that you need to be doing, that I need to be doing, so that we prevent this from happening. So first of all, it helps to plan a menu. So often we go to the store and we just start buying. We see this and we think, oh, broccoli, it looks beautiful. Cauliflower, grapes, maybe they're on sale. But we really don't have any designated day for when we're going to use them. So we need a menu. The second thing is we need a list. You know how it is. When you go in the store and you have no list, you're just buying all kinds of things. So you need a list. Number 3 is you need to definitely not overbuy. Don't buy just because it is on sale. Now, I'm all about getting a deal and buying things on sale. But sometimes, again, we're just buying it, but we don't have a time in mind when we're actually going to do something with it. Now, some things are a lot more beneficial to get when they're on sale. For example, berries are a perfect example of something that's easy to get, and when they're on sale, I jump. So I bought some organic blueberries a couple weeks ago. So I used some, but then my other containers, I went ahead, I rinsed really carefully, put them on a tray, froze them, and they're in the freezer. So as I need a few here and there, I just pull that out. I'm not going to be throwing a whole head of broccoli or cauliflower in the freezer. So again, there's more thought that needs to go into that. And if you decide, yes, this is a great deal, I'm going to buy it, then go ahead and decide on a day when you're going to do something with it. If you don't decide, if you don't say, all right, on Wednesday, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to prepare that, and then I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to freeze some. If you don't decide, then more than likely you're going to forget about it. So that's really important. Of course, the next one, number 4, is definitely take things out of plastic. It just sort of holds everything in, and I don't really want the plastic touching my food anyway. So even with the grapes, take them out, put them in something else. Another thing, number 6, use perishable things immediately. Some things can last a lot longer. Normally, broccoli can last quite a while in the refrigerator. Not in plastic, of course, but cabbage is another one, beets. A lot of those harder things, they last longer. So you have more time. But leafy greens don't last near as long, and they will start to yellow, and they lose a lot of their nutrients. So again, you're only wanting to buy enough for what you're going to be using for your time period. If you go shopping every other week, then you're just shopping for 2 weeks. If you shop once a month, then obviously you need more. Another thing is, after you prepare your things and you're storing them, write the date on the container. So even those berries that I put in the freezer, I wrote the date. I could tell they were berries, but I wrote the date. If I'm going to go ahead, whether it's something that I've already prepared and fixed, put it in a glass container and write the date. That way, later on in the week, when you're wondering, now when did I fix those green beans? It's right there. So you always want to have the date. The other thing is freeze your leftovers right away. It is so important. Again, we fix things and a lot of times we think, oh, I'll just have that later, but we forget how long it's been in there. What I like to do is, even though there's just 2 of us at home, I still fix enough for, say, 6 people. We'll generally eat that particular day, and then maybe 2-3 days later we'll have leftovers. But I also, immediately after preparing it, I put some in a glass container and I freeze for another day. And that's perfect to bring out later when I need a meal in a hurry. But freeze your leftovers immediately. The next thing is have a day when maybe it's designated as your leftover day for those things in your refrigerator. So a lot of times the weekend works out perfectly because that's a busy time, whether it's shopping, doing errands, working in the yard. The last thing we want to do is come in and have to think about preparing dinner. So that's a great day too, even with a young family, to say, all right, everybody, let's get everything out, and then that's when we're going to have leftovers. Another thing is consider having a shelf or 2 in your refrigerator just for leftovers. That will prevent things from hiding out. We've all done that where we reach into the refrigerator and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot I fixed that. And then you have to throw it out because it's old. So again, if you have 2 shelves that's where all of the leftovers are, it's easy to see. And then the next and the last one, number 10, is clean your refrigerator weekly. This would prevent a lot of these issues. If once a week, and again, it's nice if you pick a day, maybe it's Friday or Saturday, but if you have a day where you go through, and it doesn't have to be that huge cleaning where you take everything apart, but just to go through shelf at a time, wipe it down, make sure, store things that need to be used up front, and then everything else behind. Then you're going to find those things that typically are in small jars, small containers, and those are things that are really easy to miss. One other thing, and I've done this, is when you have a container, the worst thing you can do is open something up, some leftovers, and then sniff it. If there is in fact mold in that thing, you've just inhaled that mold. And mold is toxic. It is the last thing you want in your body and leads to all kinds of sickness and disease. The other thing is when you have moldy things in your refrigerator, you have the chance of contaminating other things. So for example, if you leave your grapes in a bag like this that's very open, or you just have, of course, produce that's open, and you have moldy items, you are contaminating the other things. So again, that's something else to consider. So I don't want to ever do this again, and I don't want you to either. The fact is, not only do I have to throw these things out, so let's say this is worth $8 to $10. I'm not just throwing away $8 to $10. The fact is, I've now got to replace these items. So maybe that's another $8 to $10. So do you see how wasteful? And if you think about week in, week out over the course of a year, how much money we throw away, and maybe it's not to this degree, but it's maybe some milk here, or it's some sour cream in a container that you're throwing out, or it's some produce or meat. It's easy for it to really, really add up. So I want you to really stop and think about, go to your refrigerator, check it out, designate a day to go through and clean out all that stuff. Try having a day when you're just doing leftovers. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Again, we don't want to do this. So let's make sure we stay on top of it, stop wasting food, and more importantly, stop wasting money and possibly contributing to a health problem because we're eating food that really has gone bad. Until next time, this is Coach Maggie in my kitchen. Take care and God bless.